Let's look at the disadvantages of certificate of deposits, the low yield, and the penalties we should take into consideration. And so number one is limited liquidity. There's that limited liquidity. One of the main drawbacks of CD is the investor's money is locked up. It's kind of locked up for the term of the deposit. Early withdrawal usually attracts penalties, which can reduce or eliminate any earned interest or even parts of the principal. That's severe. I think it's severe. So these are a typical disadvantage one should take into consideration. You might lose part of your capital. You may lose part of your interest if you default, if you withdraw before maturity. Number two is interest rate risk. Interest rate risk actually is something worth considering. If interest rate rises after a CD is purchased, the investor is stuck with the lower rate for the duration of the term. And this means that the investor may miss out of better returns from a newly issued CD or other instruments. Let's say, for instance, you are being paid 10%, and the interest rate rises to maybe 15 or 16%. That means that you are stuck with a low yielding investment, and you can't opt out without attracting penalties. And for other newly issued CDs, those ones will be operating at the recent interest rate. You are stuck with the older rate, and the newer ones are benefiting from the higher available rates. Number two is low returns and a low interest rate environment. There is that particular possibility that the return will be low compared to the prevailing interest rates. So in a low interest rate environment, the return on CD may be much lower than inflation, leading to negative return. If your CD yields, let's say 10%, and inflation is 11% or 12%, that means your return cannot really keep up with inflation. You will lose your buying power as a result. If you eat into your buying power. The fixed interest rate might not keep pace with rising prices, eroding the purchasing power of the returns. Number four is opportunity cost. And every investment has opportunity cost. So when you want to invest, ask yourself, what could I gain if I were to invest in some other instruments? You ask yourself that question before you make a choice on what vehicle you want to invest in. And so by locking up money in a CD, investors might miss out on the other opportunities, such as investing in stocks or in bonds, which could potentially offer higher returns. This long-term growth potential, or rather this fixed rates actually is something that one should really take into consideration, because there are high returns elsewhere and your interest is fixed in this particular place. I think it's a problem. In as much as you are pursuing safety, don't do that at the expense of the returns you could get somewhere else. So the long-term growth potential for CDs is limited compared to other investments. There's no long-term growth. You should not even expect growth. That's the nature of the investment. This is what you deposit. This is what you will get. This is interest attached. Simple. As simple as that. You don't expect the unexpected. The number 5 here is early withdrawal penalties. There's penalties for withdrawing earlier than agreed. So if the investor needs to access their fund before the maturity date, they typically face a penalty, which may involve losing a portion of the interest and or even parts of the capital. Well, I think I can tolerate and I can bear losing part of the interest. That one is acceptable. But part of the capital, it's a problem actually. It's something worth considering. Please subscribe to this channel and like this video. It will encourage me to bring in contents of this. You can even go back and watch my videos in this channel. On this channel, there are as much as there are many, that are designed to make you a better investor. Number 6 is fixed return. The returns on CD is fixed and does not benefit from any market's upswing, or growth opportunity. It is fixed, rock solid, fixed. It cannot grow. It's like an adult that cannot grow. An adult cannot, grow in heights. That's same thing is similar to CD. You cannot grow, except you wear a high heel, which of course, when you remove it, you still go back to your normal, height. So there's no growth potential. There's no growth potential at all. There's none. So it cannot appreciate over time. And of course, it has limited fixed return. Number 7 is minimum deposit requirements. Many CDs require a minimum deposits, often ranging from $500 to as high as $1,000 or more. This may be a barrier for smaller investors or those looking into or those that want to invest a lower amount of capital. $500 in my currency is much because a $10,000 is around 1.7 million naira. So it's a huge amount of money actually. Number 8 is taxation. The interest earned on CDs is subject to federal income tax and potentially states and local government tax will equally come in. This can reduce the overall return, especially for investors in a high tax bracket. The higher tax brackets, the more you are going to pay in taxes. Remember, the federal government will tax you. The states and the local government may equally come in and tax that small interest rate you are getting on CDs. Number 8 is callable CDs. Some CDs are callable, meaning the bank can redeem them. They can recall them back. They can say, "Well, I'm not doing again. I want to recover. I want to, take back, So it's redeemable. This can be disadvantageous if the bank calls a CD earlier when interest rate falls, potentially, leaving the investor with less favorable reinvestment opportunities. Before the maturity period, the bank can decide to, redeem, but in this case, they give you back your money. Thank you very much, for your patience. We don't need your money again, and interest rates are down. Where will you reinvest your capital? An environment of low interest rates, So it's worth considering actually. Number 10 is lack of flexibility. This with that fixed time makes it kind of rigid. So CDs do not allow for adjustment or changes during the investment period. And this makes them less flexible compared to other investment vehicles like bonds, like stocks, where investors can make adjustment based on changing market conditions. There's no flexibility at all. These disadvantages make CDs less attractive for those seeking higher returns or greater flexibility, and they are best suited for conservative investors who prioritize safety and predictable returns over over growth potentials.